the fuck is McClay?
Like a pill size?
Yeah.
You guys ready?
What is this thing?
You're rolling?
Yeah.
Okay.
Weed?
Can you slate the GoPro real quick?
What generation GoPro you got?
Sessions 4. Oh, okay.
I stopped using that too.
I don't like foam.
The Bogcast, episode 15. Mike Martin.
Awesome. Thank you. The Bogcast, episode 15. Michael Martin. If you could do that to that camera. If you get that in frame too.
Episode 15, Mike Martin.
Hell yeah.
Perfect.
Take it.
You guys see?
Yeah. Anyway, we do a really Jason. Nice to meet you.
Alright. Just waiting on the director.
Action.
Hell yeah. This is episode, what was it again? 15 of the Bogcast?
15.
We're going to start off with another jam here.
What is the cheapest one that you found in the valley?
Well, AZ Organics really is really what I go to. I've really been to, but
Yeah.
everyone has their own.
If you guys want to sponsor us, holla.
Yeah.
Jason Pavone comes in there every other day buying that fucking, that shat.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll edit this out.
I was so I was listening to a bunch of your podcasts, and you always play like pretty much heavy metal.
It's the
or
same
death
band.
metal, whatever. Oh, it's the same band.
yeah.
Okay. This
only band
is
that
my
said
thing with so many genres of this shit.
Yeah.
Like speed metal, death metal, whatever.
Oh,
like,
within
yeah.
these
So
ones.
I've just never not a fan.
There's a lot of.
I got to see Slayer once, and that was pretty sweet.
Well, you know what's funny is I'm not a huge. Well, I'm not like a huge metal guy.
Yeah.
But metal bands are usually the most I'm impressed about that are become my favorites, if that makes sense. So I'm very, very,
there's a
very,
lot of
very,
shit out
very
there.
picky with my metal and shit. Like I think most metal actually.
What are you
kinda
looking
sucks.
for in like a metal band? Like what do
Just
you like?
fucking okay. So
Groove.
the band that we were just listening to, I think those are the most creative, baddest guitar riffs like I've ever heard in my entire life. to the point where I don't even give a fuck about the vocalist. I don't even listen to the vocalist. Sometimes like, oh yeah, there's a dude screaming, because the riffs are so just brilliant. I would just love to sit down with this guy and be like, how the fuck do you write this? How often do you practice? And it's not only just the riffs, it's how he records them, because he records 2 different guitar parts, and separate guitar parts, but one comes out of the left ear, one comes out of the right ear, but sometimes they'll pan back and forth. So he's also a recording engineer genius. You know what I mean? And I'm really into like recordings and the producing. But
and what's really cool about Within the Ruins also is, like he said, sometimes you just don't even listen to the vocalist, right? I mean, it's not that the vocalist is bad. The vocalist is really fucking badass.
No, he is badass.
But they have a lot of just pure instrumental songs that fucking blow you away.
This is what I like about metal, is I like the instrumental, because it's fucking... I like anything.
Oh shit! Hang on a second. No, keep going.
That I find is talented.
Yes.
Like that you worked hard to do what you're able to do, and I respect that on almost anything. Like I don't care if you're the best quilt maker.
Yeah.
Like if I'm like, dude, that dude spent 10 years, 8 hours a day to figure out how to make a quilt. So I respect anyone that can do that. I can't handle the vocals, man.
For me, metal has disappointed me for 10 years.
Yeah, I agree.
And it actually pushed me to dubstep and dance. And I have.
And you know, it's funny. A lot of people in dubstep are old metal guitar players, and they just kind of write it into dubstep.
You think because of the guitar? Because of the drumming? Like
no, it's just I think just because I'm a musician and I've heard every riff already just through the decades of me being in bands, and you know, everything, I don't know, everything on the radio is mainstream, and it's like Disturbed, and I'm just like,
it's garbage.
That's not
I can't handle I can't even handle it.
There's a band right now that I fucking hate, that I don't listen to the radio at all, but every time I do, they seem to be on. It's like something Dragons or something.
Imagine Dragons.
Oh god,
that's
no.
It's it is the worst shit.
Anyway,
but this is all I'm saying. I'm cool with them because they're creators. You know what I mean? They're creating.
Yeah.
And I'm cool with that. So as long as you're creating.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because I used to be that guy that just wanted to just shit on every single person. And
really, I am a hater too.
Well, I know. Actually, you should have your own podcast of just you talking shit, because you have these crazy rants that
It's just ridiculous.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm not trying to hate on. I was just curious about why you guys like it.
No, but I've gotten to a point where I actually respect
Nobody likes
artists
my music
now, no matter what. Like they're just doing.
You a
their
country
thing.
fan?
I'm a bluegrass fan.
That's cool.
And fucking people. So I play it when we do jiu-jitsu, and people absolutely fucking hate it. But here's the thing: in my gym, if you could beat me, you can change the music. Until you beat me, we're listening to bluegrass, son. Sorry.
You know what? That's a perfect segue.
Oh yeah. So for their episode 15. Today we're actually with a very good old friend. I've known him since high school years, back in the late 90s.
Playing basketball, actually, junior high.
Was it junior high? Mm-hmm. Shit. Holy fuck.
Beanfield and Belansea I met in junior high.
20-something years now.
Many moons ago.
Yeah, so we've known this guy for a long time, but...
Damn, he's in the Belansea crew. And
Deer Valley, all that shit.
You know, speaking, Mark Belansea was the first singer of my band.
I know. Brick?
Yeah.
So I remember hearing your name all the time, but I never met you.
Right.
For whatever reason, I would always leave the Belansea house when you showed up. Like I was gone, and I was like, I don't know, this guy's a real fucking guy.
I think that's everybody's story.
I hear this famous dude, like, but I've never seen him. I was always gone, you know.
That's him right
there.
Go
home.
Yep, I'm here. Boom. Check 1, 2.
But anyway, he's
not much to look at. No much to look at.
You're a real thing. That's good.
Michael Martin. He's the owner. Well, I want to get into your academy. He's the owner of Strongheart Academy, which is a Brazilian jiu-jitsu studio located in North Phoenix. Mm-hmm. It offers all sorts of classes, from BJJ for kids to self-defense classes. Actually, you know what's really impressive is your website, man.
Yeah.
Your website is badass. I think I encourage everyone to go to strongheartacademy.com. You have a cool fact section. You have these videos of just how to clean your mat, how to, I think, get your gi on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And more importantly, and most importantly, in my opinion, not to interrupt, but the best logo in the game.
Oh my God.
The best logo in the game.
For sure.
So
that's tight.
So when I was a whole life, I would consider myself an artist. And I just love drawing. And even in high school, when they do like most likely to do whatever, I think I was voted most likely to be an artist. And I never thought like I'd be a martial artist, you know, because that sounded really stupid. That would have sounded stupid in high school to me. Hey. Like I'm like that's dumb. But like when I had my business, one of the coolest things about it was creating things, creating the logo. It took me forever to come up with the name. I love making shirts. Yeah. This is like my 20-something shirt. Every year I make 2 shirts, 3 shirts.
We were just talking about
I redo logos all the time. My logo I've redone, I don't even know how many times. And my buddy Westbrook, he's the one that helped me design the website. And I give him input, and then he's the one that has to make work. Mm-hmm. So we like really studied it and like figured out. And then even like thinking of, jiu-jitsu is super intimidating, like super intimidating. It could be like kind of macho and like, you guys are trying to fucking kill each other. Do I want to show up, So we try to make those videos that I posted like as friendly as possible. Mm-hmm. That we're not all meatheads and we still try to choke each other out for sure, but yeah. But like it's a friendly way of doing it, snuggle struggles.
Yep. So you just enjoy it. I mean, it's not just running a jiu-jitsu, it's all these other creative aspects of it.
I love it.
Like you said, creating
Yeah, I never realized like owning it, like creating all my everything, like even the schedule, like figuring out times. That sounds not creative, but figuring out the best time something's gonna work with a certain age group. Like kids get off school at a certain time, people get off work at a certain time, and figuring those. And there's like weirdo morning people. Like what time is the best weirdo morning time? Because I don't like mornings. I hate mornings. What's the best time early in the morning? Like I figured even that's creative for me. So I love the creative process of it. And even jiu-jitsu, like it's not prearranged. So like when I was a kid, you'd see like karate. It's like some kata, which means dance, which is like a prearranged movement. Like step 1, do this. Step 2, do this. Step 2, do this. When you do jiu-jitsu, like if I was with McClay is going to try to make me say uncle, which is tap, and I'm going to make him say uncle. There's no prearranged anything. So you can be as creative as possible within a rule set. There's always a rule set, but like you can be creative as possible to make that happen. And I freaking love that.
Yeah, you're creating on so many different levels.
Yeah, right. Man, I love it.
Creating smart,
confidence,
and you have to create like that. So like, you're a creative guy too. You write, and so sometimes you get like writer's block or whatever. Like it doesn't just happen, right? Well, in jiu-jitsu, you don't have like. As soon as we shake hands, I have to make it happen. And being able to create on the fly within a couple seconds and being able to, it challenges your brain on a different level. Excuse me, that's hot.
It probably helps you get to the point where you can, the other things that you're good at creating or you have to think of quickly, it probably helps strengthen those in your regular life outside of the sport, right?
Yeah, for stress relief, for sure. Yeah. Like things don't... Fight Club is a kind of a funny movie, but like when you do those type of things, regular things like just don't seem as important anymore. The thing that might piss you off in traffic or whatever, it's just not as important because you've been choked, like someone trying to choke you out or hit you in the face or something.
Well, plus you've also let a lot of that aggression out on the mat and stuff.
For sure.
The problem is there's a lot of dudes with just built up aggression and they just don't have an outlet to let that out. So they're in traffic wanting to shoot motherfuckers.
We talk about ego death. We try to talk about ego death.
Ego death is important.
And
jiu-jitsu would check you quick.
Yeah, it's definitely a way to ego death, and it might take a lot longer.
Explain ego death. What is that?
Also I've done yoga too, so they talk about ego a lot too. Like, it's kind of like your predisposition to the way that you think, and almost like thinking you're better than you really are. Like most people don't realize how not a good person you really are.
Yeah.
And I think it's like a counter to making yourself depressed. So like depression, that's kind of different, I guess. You could be very depressed about yourself or your life or whatever, but like if you have a strong ego, like you think your words are more important than they are. You think the things that you do are more important than you are. You think your thoughts and your processes and your beliefs are way more important than you are.
Yeah.
And jiu-jitsu checks that real quick. And so I'll give you a story. Like when I started jiu-jitsu, I brought this girl that she's married and has kids, which is hilarious. But I brought her my first class in jiu-jitsu. I brought her to because I did wrestling. I was like, I can handle this. I can handle this, guys.
Yeah.
I almost died in the warm-ups. Like the warm-ups, like getting warmed up, I was like gonna die. And if I didn't bring that girl, and she's sitting there watching me, and I'm trying to impress her because I'm like 20 years old. I thought that's how you impress a girl. And
ego death.
Ego death right there. I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm glad she was there because I didn't quit, but I would have quit first off, straight up, like within
Being able to say you would have quit, ego death.
20 minutes in, I would have like, this is ridiculous. And then back then they were like way more hardcore, so they didn't care if you joined or not. They're just gonna fuck you up. Yeah. And anyone that's left is hard. Like anyone left is like it's a Russian kind of grind nose mentality. Like they put you to grind, and the weak parts flake off, and then what's hard is left. That steel that's sharp as a blade, you know. So they just beat the shit out of you, and if you survive, cool. Yep. If you don't, you don't. So I don't know, over the years, so many muscle-bound guys that come in, and they think they're just gonna kill people. And I had this girl, like a 16-year-old girl, and chokes them out, and they're like,
yeah, ego death.
Ego death. But ego death, not always death. That's the problem.
Well, it always gets reborn. And it could be better, it could be worse.
They don't learn from it. Like, they'll just quit. They're like, that was too harsh. Like, I can't face reality.
Yeah.
Facing reality is tough, man. Yeah. Facing reality is tough. Realizing how much we all suck.
I think that's
hard.
I think that might be the biggest part of our ego is we don't know what reality truly is.
No.
We think we do.
You pop out of your bubble.
You're exactly right.
It's like you pop out of it.
You're exactly right.
I've actually had that a couple times where, I think, you're in this bubble and it's your reality and everything matters, but then you kind of like twist around on yourself and you realize, what the hell?
Yeah. I think I've realized there's two things that do that to you in life: jiu-jitsu and mushrooms. Seriously.
Psychedelics, yeah.
Those are the two things that, like, seriously have both in common.
Of course. Well, that's why they're really, truly they're working miracles. What the Trojan horse that the medical cannabis realm has become. So this is funny. I read this article where they were talking about how CBDs has become the Trojan horse to, like, everything else, right? So
it's just an introduction
to
it all.
But a good introduction. So, like, all these people that used to hate it, now they're going to their pet stores and they're buying CBD oil for their dog. Mm-hmm. And they're getting, protein shakes made of hemp seed.
Well, it's definitely trendy.
You know what I mean?
It is trendy.
Yeah, so it's a Trojan horse, and it's bringing it in, and then everybody's going to go, well, this stuff really works. Maybe that's fucking great.
No, I agree.
Yeah, and look what that's what's happening right now with mushrooms, with psilocybin mushrooms. These same people who tested the cannabis said this has value, and then people said, well, psychedelics do too. All right, let's start testing that. Boom. What do they want to start using for PTSD in veterans? Psilocybins, because it fucking works. Not every Hamilton Morris says this a lot. Not every bad drug is a bad thing, because
I love that.
Yeah, because that bad
it's like he compares it to a bad meal.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah. He basically says what is bad for you at this point in time could be good for you at this point in time.
I think, everything is balanced. So I do jiu-jitsu, right? And I've trained too much. Where, like, jiu-jitsu is good for you. It's good for your ego. It's good for your body. It's good for your cardiovascular. Good for your everything. But you can overdo it. For sure, where you are broken. I've trained where I'm just broken. Everything's broken.
Injury-wise,
injury-wise, and just burnout, and, like, losing a lot can get to you. Like, all of it, like, you need a break from it. And if you can overdo it. But my point is, anything that good can be turned bad.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Anything,
for sure, yeah.
So, I think you could do shrooms all day long, every day, and that's would be bad. Mm-hmm. But if you do it,
if you do a heroic dose once a year,
that would be good. Good cleanser, man, from your brain. I think that's a good cleanser for your brain. But, like, people now, I think the problem with the drugs is that, or these type of drugs, is that now that's like, it's always the same thing. It's like pendulum, right? Like, everything's too conservative. Everything's too freaking liberal. Everything, we go too far. Like, I'm afraid, like, everyone's going to go too far drugs. Like, it's too good. Like, I wish we go, okay, what's right? Like, what's the right amount? Let's be
I think the right
smart.
amount is legalization of
But
all
we're
drugs.
getting
All
there.
drugs, yeah.
And I think it's
We're
going to have the
getting there.
exact opposite
Yes.
effect of everything that's happened. And
What
it's
you're
and
asking-
I think so,
and that's
too.
proven in other countries who have legalized
Portugal,
every single
for
drugs.
sure.
You know
Portugal.
what I mean?
They have a huge turnaround in Portugal.
Just for the listeners, what has it proven when you legalize all drugs?
Well, that's what Mike's getting at. So Mike is, I think, Mike, you're kind of getting at exactly what has happened in that situation, right? People in their countries got worried that more drugs were going to be an issue, and they didn't want to get to that point. But they tested it, right? And they said, yeah, more drugs can be an issue. It's just how you handle those drugs that are out in the public, right? So if we say that they're a Schedule II narcotic and you can go to jail for it, you can, basically ruin your life if you get caught with it, right? When we say that, rather than saying it's not the greatest thing for you, but we're going to administer it for you, but in order to administer it and for us to give it to you, you have to sit down for us for like 45 minutes and do this. Just bullshit. And so they learn what's going on, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, seriously.
So once they learn that a lot of people who are drug addicts, it's one or two people, mental or people who are just in a hole and they can't get out.
Get in a hole, yeah. I think, so those countries, if you read about them or you learn, like, look into them, it's not just free, whatever. Like, they have clinics you have to go to. So, like, so heroin artists have to go to
well, they have way better rehabilitation centers than we do
better
here,
rehabilitation centers. Because all the money that you're putting into prisons
and also
go
into
into
jails
helping
too,
people
But
get out of their funk, man.
But
Like,
not only when you legalize drugs, should it just be? I mean, you shouldn't have laws against what you can do to your mind. That's ridiculous.
That's
to me.
ridiculous.
But not
Sure.
only that, but if you legalize all drugs, just think about all the crime that would stop. From all the cartels from Mexico bringing drugs into all the crime within our cities and
The
stuff.
crime
It's
that the
all
drugs cause
drug
because they're
related.
on
You know what I mean?
fringe.
Yeah, because you have to steal to get it, and then if you have a product and it's not regulated by the government. Let's say I sold phones and phones are illegal, and I built phones, but you were like, I like your phones. I'm just gonna steal your phones. I can't call the police and say, hey, this guy's coming in my place to steal my phone. I have to do it, and the best way to do that is to fucking kill you, or take your shit,
cause more violence.
Cause more violence to prevent it, because there's no police instruction. The police are not going to stop that from happening because it's not legal. Okay, so that's where the violence comes from. Is the ability? The only way to protect their product is ultra violence, and if it was legal, that wouldn't be an issue, and then you'd be able to regulate it too. So like fentanyl isn't put in things that are just dying.
Crime would still happen though, right? Because I mean, if you legalize it, you still have the people that have no money that are still trying to get it, right?
No, sure, crime was going to happen, but crime is always going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't
It'll
think
just go down. Violent crime will go down.
I think violent crime will go. I think all crime will go down.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that it's legal to steal or rob or murder. Those are still illegal. Like you mean that law is still in the books. If you made everything legal, that would still be illegal.
Yes.
To kill or murder or steal.
Yeah.
Those are the big three right there.
Yeah, the golden rule, right? I mean, it's basically the golden rule: do unto others as you do unto yourself. If you can't believe in that simple saying, then how much you're in society can be an issue.
Well, then you're an asshole.
That's what I mean.
Like you can't regulate assholes either. Yeah. I don't know. I don't have the answers for sure, but I just know nothing has worked, and we've been doing the same thing for 40 years. And as a business owner, anything that's ever not worked, I don't continue to do it because I would be out of business.
Let me ask you, the business that you do own, though, you deal with a lot of different subtypes of the community, right?
Yeah.
You were just talking earlier, you got a doctor that rolls with you. You probably got a couple doctors.
First of all, the doctor that trains with me is the greatest human being I've ever met in my entire life.
So that's what I mean.
He's my favorite human. If you could have a favorite human, that would be my favorite human.
That's what I'm getting at. Like when you have these different subsets of the community and you're dealing with multiple subsets on the regular, you're seeing a lot, and you're just the community that you're creating within the community, right? You bring those people together.
I think I've always loved people. My best friend in high school, he was a crazy person that went to prison, but I was never that person, even though he was my best friend.
Did you go to Deer Valley?
Yeah, Chris I probably shouldn't even say that.
Yeah.
He sold drugs and he ended up robbing people. Back to the conversation, he went to prison. But again, he should have went to prison because what he did, he robbed someone with gunpoint. You should go to prison. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But he did that because he
was on
guns. Yeah, he was on drugs.
Yeah.
But my point is, like, I've always liked different people. Like, I hung out with different people. I like personalities, and I like learning about people. And jiu-jitsu is so varied, man, so varied. Ditch diggers, again, I have multiple lawyers, and not just one type of lawyer. And that, I never really realized how many different types of lawyers there are until I did jiu-jitsu. But we all hang together. And then if I didn't do jiu-jitsu, I would never meet those people. Would never be in the same circle as a lawyer. I mean, look at me, man. I dress in t-shirts.
It probably gives you a good perspective on life.
That's exactly what I was getting at. Your perspective.
I don't know. I think I do. And then last week I did. So we're under an affiliation called CTA. They're out of San Jose. So once a year we do like a CTA camp, and people throughout the world. There's like 50 affiliations. So I was in a house last week. In my house, I had two guys from China, one guy from Switzerland, a dude from Oklahoma, a guy from New York, a guy from Texas, and then me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey guys, let's go get some drinks. So one time I'm like, let's just go get some drinks. And it felt like one of those like ethnically insensitive jokes. A Swede, a black guy, an Arizona guy, some two Chinese guys walk into a bar. What happens? Nothing. We just had drinks and we had fun. Like there's no animosity, but we're all friends, like what do I have in common with some Chinese dude? And I don't even remember where he's from in China. I can't even.
Yeah,
I don't even remember the name of the place. But the Swedish guy, we hung out. Or I keep going Swede. I'm gonna screw that up too. He's from Switzerland. He's not Swedish. He's from Switzerland.
Yeah, big difference.
He does not like that.
Yeah, big difference.
But I get to meet these people and talk about where they're from and what they're interested in their countries, and it's easy to get slanted what you think the world is like until you meet those people from their countries and like you ask them questions, like ask them. So what's Switzerland like?
I see you going out of the country quite a bit now. You've gone in the last couple of years.
I went to Honduras and I went to Belize, and that was kind of like missions work stuff.
I was going to ask you what you were doing out there.
Yeah,
what you were doing.
I have a few questions
that's crazy,
actually.
That's a mind.
You
want to go to a place. You want to get your mind blown out.
Yeah, I was going
to go to Honduras.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of experiences do you have, and what kind of things did you learn about life there that's not even related to jiu-jitsu, like as far as the way they live?
So,
so you said it was Honduras and where else?
Honduras and Belize. The first year I went to Honduras by myself with nobody. The second year I went with some people from my church to Belize first, then Honduras. But Belize is crazy too. Not as crazy as Honduras, but it's different.
You just went out there to train?
My doctor friend that I said is like my favorite person, he is a doctor making crazy money. He decided that he needs to do something more to help people. He sold he had 2 houses. He sold his house, sold his cars, sold all his possessions, took his 4 daughters and wife to Honduras to some mission in the middle of the jungle. And he's like, Mike, he loves jiu-jitsu. So he's like, hey, would you help me support if I start a jiu-jitsu club? I'm like, yeah, for sure, man. So he started his jiu-jitsu club in the middle of the jungle. Nobody does jiu-jitsu in Honduras, by the way. And when I say in the middle of the jungle, it's the middle of the jungle, not a city, in the middle of the jungle. And then he called me. I talked to him all the time on the phone, and for like 3 years, he tried to get me to go to Honduras. Mike, you got to come to Honduras. I'm like, what am I going to do in Honduras, man? Like, I have no skills. I just do jiu-jitsu. I don't know how to do anything. He's like, that's what we're going to do. We're going to do jiu-jitsu. Like, people know you love them by doing jiu-jitsu. Teach them jiu-jitsu. I'm like, okay.
Wow.
So going to Honduras, you get there, and I'm reading about it. I'm like, how do I get to Honduras? Pedro Sousa, I read about it. It's the murder capital of the world, bro. I'm like, Peter, you're in the murder capital of the world. He's like, no, that's Pedro Sousa. I'm like, where are you at? Belfonte. I'm like, well, is there any like cartels there? He's like, oh yeah, there's cartels here too. It's just not as bad. It's just not as bad as Pedro Sousa. I'm like, okay. And my wife was like, you're going where? Why are you going to Honduras? I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I'm supposed to go to Honduras. And even going there was crazy because I went there at 3:00 in the morning to get on the plane. And you put your passport in there, like, is there anything on the passport that's not right? I'm like, my birth date's not right. And I tell the lady, she's like, you ain't getting on this plane. And I was like, with the sassiest black voice I ever could hear in my life, at like 3 in the morning, I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, your birth date's wrong. Then you can't get on the plane. I was like, what are you talking about? I've been planning this for like a month. I don't have any other options. Like, what do you want to do? She's like, I don't know. Not my problem. So then I called my dad. I was like freaking out. I was like, dude, I've been planning this, like I've spent the money on this.
Yeah. You're fucked if you don't go.
I'm screwed.
Yeah.
Screwed. So he's like, hey, your uncle once drove to Tucson and they gave him a passport. I was like, all right. I got in my car from Sky Harbor, drove to Tucson at like 3 a.m. I got to the passport office. All these people are not getting passports. I'm like, I just made another mistake. Like, I just drove to Tucson. What am I going to do? The guy goes, hey, man. And they bring me into this room. They're like, why do you need this? I'm like, I'm on a mission. They're like, on a mission? I'm like, I mean missionary work. And they're like, let me see what I can do. He like literally stares at me. He's like, let me see what I can do. He walked in the other room, and it's like interrogating. First of all, it's like an interrogation room. Like, it's weird windows, like a mirrorless window, and like weird chairs set up. So it's very intimidating. He comes back. He's like, here's your passport.
Wow.
Then I call the airport, and I'm like, hey, can I get on a flight? They're like, no. You need to buy another ticket. I'm like, what? So then I had only enough money to pay my rent on my building or buy the ticket. I was like, fuck it. I'm going to Honduras. We'll figure out the rate. If I'm supposed to go there and if I believe
there's
this,
a reason.
If I believe in a God, like, I should believe that this is what I'm supposed to do. So that's what I did. I was like, I don't give a shit about rent. Let's
make it
go
happen.
to Honduras. So I got a flight that afternoon, went to Honduras. And so that happened. That was crazy. And I ended up, somebody paid in advance for a year at my gym and paid my rent. Rent.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
dude.
when I got back.
There you go.
Shit.
Fucking that karma wheel,
crazy.
man.
That's because you stuck with it and you decided.
I stuck with it. So then we go to Honduras, and you get off the plane, and it's like this little island called Roatan. And Roatan is like the only nice place in Honduras. It's like people scuba dive there. It's an island. Mm-hmm. So you can take a ferry, and you get into La Ceiba. And La Ceiba is the craziest. It's like a movie to me. I was like, what? I was so surreal. Like, just shit going on everywhere, like chickens and like just craziness. And then I came to my realization, I don't speak Spanish that well. And what if I can't get a hold of my friend Peter? Yeah. He's an hour and a half drive. I don't trust these taxi people to take me without just taking my cash and just murdering me in the jungle. Like, that's how it's like there, you know?
I was just going to ask you, did you feel safe?
No, I did not feel safe at all. I was super confident until I showed up La Ceiba. And then he shows up in this big Land Cruiser. It's like an ambulance Land Cruiser. It's pretty sweet. It was like an old 80s or 90s old-ass thing. And he's like, hey, man, you hungry? I'm like, and I'm just freaking out because I'm looking around and it just feels like chaos, dude. It's a city.
You didn't have any plan on how to get to where you needed to go, or
no, I was relying on him. And Jesus, I guess.
Did he know your flight got messed up?
No. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I messaged him. Yeah, okay. I did message him. Yeah.
Thank God, because that would have sucked.
That would be way worse. That was way worse. That would be way worse.
Jesus got your back, bro.
So he was like, hey, you want to go to Burger King? I was like, they got Burger King here? He's like, yeah, we go to Burger King. So we're going to the drive-thru, and in the drive-thru, I'm thinking, bro, we're gonna get jacked in the drive-thru. Like, there's just literally there's craziness. Everyone has guns there, and everyone has a machete. It's like one hand's a gun.
Are you the only white dude?
Yes, for sure. I'm the only white guy, for sure. And Peter. And Peter's this huge
dude. Who the fuck's Peter?
Peter's the doctor. Sorry, yeah. Peter's the doctor friend of mine. Yeah.
But you weren't with him yet.
No, not yet.
That's what I'm saying. No. You and Peter.
He pulls up.
Peter's an hour and a half away.
Yeah. We pull up in the truck, and he goes, oh, hey, you want to get in the truck? Or you want to get something to eat? And I was like, yeah, it's cool. He's like, hey, there's no food at the mission place, so we're going to go to the grocery store, and we'll get food for a week. I'm like, oh, okay. And even that was sketching me out, because every store, they have a security guard that's armed. Every store. And the banks are like these small banks, and they only let you, there's a line outside the bank, not in the bank. They don't let people in the bank. They check your purse and wand you down, then one person at a time can go in a bank, because shit's so crazy there. People rob everybody.
Yeah.
And so this is all natural fear that you're having. This is all like natural fear, but was there anything that you heard while you're there, like crazy shit? Because you're saying there's all these robberies and stuff. Like, what kind of crazy shit did you hear?
Any murders or anything like that?
Okay, so when I went to, we'll skip. The next year I go to Belize, right? And my pastor, who is the doctor's brother,
He's in some other crazy ass place.
He lived in Belize, so he's like, "Hey, Mike, they have a jiu-jitsu school in Belize City. You want to go to Belize with me for half of the week? We'll go to Honduras. We'll do a trip in Honduras. We're gonna grab these Belizean dudes that I think are great guys in Belize that I met. We're all gonna go to Honduras together. These black dudes. We're all gonna go to Honduras together." I'm like, "Okay." So we go to Belize City. There's 5 murders there while we were there, and they're all a block away, like a block away.
Were you posting on Facebook when you were in Belize?
Probably, yeah. I have a bunch of pictures. You can look at all the pictures.
I think I remember you you were talking about a walk to the dojo or whatever,
Yes.
and it was and even that was nerve wracking
Oh, yeah,
on the
yeah.
way there because
Belize scared me for where we were at. We're in South Belize, so literally there's this river, and then the other side is South Belize. It's like South Phoenix or whatever, but way worse. And there's all these gang murders. So there's a good documentary on Netflix about the guy, the security guy that went to Belize. What's his name?
Dude, you should have a film crew and
I
documentary.
know, that's what I was just about to say.
Anyway,
bro.
so part of the documentary, I was watching with my wife, and they're like, so there was a murder. The guy, this famous guy, this rich guy down in Belize, he's American, and he's like, "We've never solved a murder in Belize with fingerprints." And I was like, the fuck, Sherlock Holmes from like the 1800s was doing fingerprints? You've never done fingerprints in murder? So that made me nervous when we were in Belize. I was like, if you get murdered, they're not solving it, son. Like,
yeah, there's some countries that don't have that. They send fingerprints to the U.S.
The U.S., yes.
To get fingerprints.
Yeah, that's what they do in Belize.
What'd your wife think about all of this?
Yeah, why'd she let you go?
I mean, she must have been just petrified.
My wife is badass. She's just a super cool. She's not the average lady. I'm not gonna talk bad about ladies, but she just allows me to do things that she shouldn't allow me to do, probably. And I think she has a level of confidence in me that I'm not doing anything bad in
That's
those
awesome.
places, and she trusts me, to not be crazy and do whatever I'm gonna do. Because you could do crazy stuff there, There's prostitution everywhere. You can.
That's the type of shit where you can go kill somebody, drop the body off, never be fucking
crazy stuff down there.
Our mutual friend Rich Young trained in I forgot where it was. I thought it was Colombia or something crazy like that. But one of the things he talked about was the humbleness of the people there. Like, I hate how I say "like" every time, especially when I'm drinking. I've learned that from the podcast. Anyway, they're so poor.
Yes.
But he says they're happier than most Americans that he meets here.
Oh my gosh.
And it's insane in how the 9 to 5 here just kills everyone, and we worry about all these just
There's
things that we don't need to worry about. And I was just wondering if you could talk about that a little bit, because that shit blows my mind.
So Peter told me, one of the things that he got out of Peter the doctor, my friend, one of the things he said he got out of it is like, if someone steals from me in those places, I'm just going to assume that they need it more than I do. And I was like, to me, that was like, wow, okay. That's a different way of thinking. The way I think, I'm like, you just stole from me, mother. Like, I want to hurt you. Like, I want to get revenge. That's not how he thinks. He thinks like, they're poor. I have a lot in my life. I don't really need it. Like, or I can get another one. Like whatever.
Forgive but don't forget type thing.
I don't think.
Maybe even forgetting.
I think both. That guy, like that guy, does both. But like, he was even telling me like, so the clinic there's virtually free. It's a mission hospital. Plus they have like they do farming there, sustained farming, and they do English classes there. They do a bunch of stuff like in this. This is not from La Ceiba. This is like in the middle of the jungle. There's no hospitals for like. He's like 300 miles. So people will walk their days just to go to the hospital.
They probably free also because they're probably afraid. So it's hard to get people to come to a doctor when you're also asking for money and they're afraid.
I mean, sometimes they're afraid from cartels for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. But he said like, sometimes they won't pay him, but they'll give him like a bowl of rice. Like here.
Something that's
and
super...
and he said that's like they don't have a lot of food, so they're just giving you what they have. Like that bowl of rice would be like you giving me your car, or you're giving me your prized possession, but only more important than that because it's sustenance. Like you need food to live.
They really need it out there.
They really need to live, and I saw some just really sad stuff, man, on Honduras. Really sad stuff. Like there's a kid that had like his hands were kind of like balloons. He maybe was 9 years old, and I was in the hospital, and then Peter's like, he goes in the other room and he's like, that guy's not going to make it. I'm like, what? He's like, he's going to die soon. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? He's like, he had a heart problem, and in the United States, they would have found that when he was born in the hospital as a baby, and they would have did immediate surgery, and it's like a 95% success rate, and he would have had a normal, healthy life. This kid has lived longer than he should have, and he should have died like 5 years ago. And just because it's Honduras and they don't have anything, they have nothing. It's the second poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. The only country that's more poor is Haiti, which is, I've never been there, but this is a place I want to go to. But it was eye-opening, man. And then doing jiu-jitsu there, it was cool. The second year we went, we did a tournament. And the thing about the tournament is they brought their whole families to watch. And Peter paid for like medal, or I did a tournament years ago in Phoenix, and I had all these extra medals. So I said, you know what, we'll bring these medals down there, and then whoever wins can get the medals, like just trinket medals. Mm-hmm. But like, it was such they have nothing to be proud of. You know what I mean? So like, what is jiu-jitsu really? Like it's just fighting or whatever. But like, winning a tournament is something to be proud of. Like they trained hard, they did a lot of work, and they could be proud in front of their parents and kids and wife and stuff. And it was like that to me.
That's like all they have is
that's all they have, yeah. So just giving them something to do other than the many
bad
things that you can do is an important thing. And I think this is for everybody, really, like not just jiu-jitsu, but
it's teaching a community aspect.
I really believe like idle hands is the devil's playground, man. Like if you're bored, you'll get into some dumb stuff, and it's really easy to do, So everyone should have a hobby. I don't care what the hobby is.
So yeah, something you enjoy.
There's so much stuff you can. Yeah, something you can, but not just enjoy. Something that you will struggle at to get better.
Yeah, that's tough and hard and makes you stronger and
a
better,
skill that you can work at and get better, and then have the feeling of success as you get better, but understanding that you sacrificed to get better, if that makes sense. So playing the guitar, when you first play the guitar, like this is hard and this sucks and my fingers hurt and it sounds terrible. But like if you do it enough and you put the work in and you sacrifice your time, so meaning like maybe instead of hanging out with friends or doing whatever you want to do, you practiced your craft, which would be the guitar or drums or whatever, and then you see incrementally you're getting better, and then you can look back and go, oh, this is where I was and this is where I am. I still suck, but I'm not as sucky as this time. And then you can build on that. And for me, jiu-jitsu has done that with my life. Like, learn how to like incrementally get better and stack your.
Well, it builds confidence too.
Builds super confidence for sure. Yeah, for sure. And this is important, I think, for guys. Is confidence is really important.
It's very good for children too.
Yeah, for kids.
Yeah.
Kids are cruel, man.
Yeah.
They'll break you down. Other kids will break other kids down. Like confidence is important to make you feel like you're self-worth, man.
Can I ask you a 3-part question about Strong Heart and your jiu-jitsu?
Absolutely not.
Not too bad. How long actually have you been into jiu-jitsu, and why and what made you start even get into it?
Because I don't remember you doing this in high school. You weren't doing this in high school, were you?
And how long were you a student before you decided to do Strong Heart?
Yeah. So in 2000, I graduated, I guess, in 99. And then in 2000, I was just screwing off.
Working for Timmy D?
I was doing...
I'm just kidding. You guys know that?
Yeah.
He worked for Timmy D for like a week. Yeah.
Who?
Remember that telemarketing job?
Yeah, when they
for
got
like
raided?
three days?
Yeah.
You worked for Timmy D?
Yeah.
Everybody did. I got every single job at Deer Valley High School, a job there.
Yeah, that's when I realized I was terrible at sales. And to this day, I am still terrible at
fuck
sales.
that shit, man.
You worked there for like 3 days. I remember that.
For sure. I was like, I'm done.
On the 5th Ave office.
ripping
or not the 5th Ave, the 27th.
Oh my God.
Call
dude.
this.
Yeah. You're writing down names.
Call this page.
Yeah.
Here's M through O.
Yeah. That was back when like you don't know how to say like people's names, and he'd hand you a sheet of like Nguyen, and you don't know how to say Nguyen. You're like, hi, Mr. Nugan. And they're like, and you think you're calling them the right thing, right?
Yeah.
You're just a 14, 15-year-old kid.
Offending them.
Yeah.
Okay,
and you're going to do that for 1,000 people.
Who went to Insane Clown Posse? Okay, so Timmy D and Leon, the guy that owns that company.
Yeah.
Who went? We got a limo, and because
I didn't get to go to that one. I don't think I was cool enough at the time.
I forgot the band that
Workhorse Movement.
Huh?
Was it Workhorse Movement?
No. There was a band in Detroit.
Yeah, Workhorse
Leon,
Movement.
and the singer Sponge.
Okay.
The couple guys from Sponge worked for Leon, and he managed that man. He actually, Bruce, he knew the manager that got ICP signed. And Timmy D and Leon, remember they came in a limo and they picked us up and we went to ICP. No, you guys were
No. That was when Timmy and Leon were both trying to be
like
big,
fuck all you guys.
Yeah, like managers and shit.
We were in like a room like this with ICP, and they had like no makeup on or anything, and we were chilling and talking. You know, they talk about all that stuff on their albums and stuff.
Yeah.
They weren't doing any of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nothing.
Were they drinking that
Fago?
Fago? No.
Now, talk about branding. There you go, right there. That's branding.
Yeah.
Branding, son.
Yeah.
Okay, so I started in 2000. Again, my life was just not terrible. It wasn't terrible. I was renting a room from somebody, and I had a car, and I didn't have a girlfriend. I was kind of not in shape, and I was just drinking and eating pizza every day, and I just felt like I was going nowhere, and I had zero plan to go anywhere. And my parents offered to pay for college if you want to go, but the caveat was like, hey, you got to stay at our house and you got to follow our rules. So as soon as I was graduated, I was like, peace, I'm out. And I was like, I'm not living here and paying you, because I had to pay rent too. They pay for college, but I had to pay rent. I was like, well, I'm not following the rules and paying rent.
Yeah,
staying here.
I was like that too.
So I left, but I wasn't doing anything. I was just doing landscaping, and it sucked. And I just remembered that when I wrestled, because I wrestled in high school and junior high, because I was too short and shitty at basketball, I wrestled. I enjoyed wrestling, and I remember when I wrestled, all my life was better. I had a girlfriend, I was in shape, my grades were better, and I felt great. Like, my mind was great, because I used to take medicine, too. So, also, by the way, I was taking, I think, Wellbutrin at the time, and something for my ADD. I don't even remember what it was at the time. This is so many years ago. And so I was taking all these medication, to not be depressed.
In high school?
My whole life.
Oh,
since I was 6, yeah. Since I was like 6 years old, dude. Like, I was on medicine for a long, long, long time. And so I just was not feeling right about it, man. Like, I was like, not doing anything. But I remember when I wrestled, I just felt better. Like, literally everything felt better. And it felt like goal-oriented. Like, when I was 7th grade, I was not as good, so I wanted to beat the guy. So that was the goal. So I was like, I'm doing anything I could do to beat that dude. And it set up goals, and it made my grades better too, and everything. If I wanted to wrestle, I had to have good grades. I didn't care about grades. I cared about wrestling. I wanted good grades. I got to wrestle. Mm-hmm. So that's what my theory was. I saw a sign on a building and said, submission wrestling. I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what UFC was. I didn't know what MMA was.
Where was this at?
This was on Greenway Road and Cave Creek Road.
Okay.
Greenway Parkway.
Yeah.
So I walked in. The dude's like, starts at 7, and then walked away. I'm like, okay, this guy's a dick. So I walked in, and that's when I invited the girl, and I was addicted. Like, day one, I was like, this is the coolest shit ever. Like, we could choke people, and I dug it. I just dug it right away. I dug it, and I was so crapped.
So how old are you about? Like early
20? I was 20 years old.
Okay.
20 years old. It was super thin. I still looked like I was 15. So I felt like I was fighting men, and I was like a boy.
When did you open your first place?
My first place is in 2009.
Okay.
So
7 years and 8 years later?
Yes.
9 years later?
Yeah. It's called commitment.
3
years in, though, I got my blue belt, which is like the first step in jiu-jitsu. And that's when I was like, I want to own a gym. I want to do this. And then maybe by like purple belt, I think maybe 2006, I started running my instructor's gym. I ran it for him. And he was not a good person, but he took us to these conventions on how to run schools and how to these conventions in Las Vegas, these martial art conventions.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yes, it's super cool. So at the time, we were the only jiu-jitsu school there, like literally the only jiu-jitsu school there. And all of them were like karate schools, but the concepts were like, you still have to sign people up. How do you do that? Like, how do you set schedules? Again, how do you set
Learn how to run a business.
You learn how to run a martial art business.
Yeah.
And I learned it. From that, I had the money to open up my own gym in 2008, 2009. And I come to and he owned another school. He opened up 2 schools. I was running his one school, he went to the other school. No one even knew who he was anymore because he's never show up. So I ran everything. People just assumed I owned the gym. And one day, I'm getting ready to buy it. The leasing company wanted my wife's credit. and her credit was trash. So they were like, hey, we need 5 G's more in order to take over this lease. And I was like, I called Jerry, the guy that owned it. I said, Jerry, I don't have 5 G's more. I need that to fix the place because you let it run down. Like, you put no money into this last 3 years. He's like, no deal. Hangs up the phone. Then he calls me back like 5 minutes later. He's like, Mike, you can't come back. Literally, like, I've been with him 8.5 years at the time, and I ran his school, and I was there from like almost the beginning of his gym, and he like kicked me out. It felt like my father kicked me out of like the house, and
with no explanation, nothing.
No explanation.
Damn,
I found out later like it was a blessing that it didn't work out because his school was failing.
Everything is, dude. That happens like that when you get those kinds of feelings.
So I said
he probably wouldn't have made the step to get you where you are.
Exactly.
Probably not.
Yeah, for sure.
No. It was because if I took over that school and it worked out, it would have failed.
Yeah.
Is this mic cut out?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Mic test. Mic.
No, you're good.
Mic.
You might want to move a little
test.
bit closer, just a little bit. Yeah, sorry.
So that's.
I just
how
gotta
that
piss
happened.
really quick. I don't mean to be rude.
There's something I want to get into because I just, we're gonna have you on multiple times just because we got so much shit that we can talk about. But one thing I do want to talk about real quick is I remember at one point in high school.
Can you grab one? Thank you, man.
At one point in high school, and tell me if I'm wrong. I'm not exactly sure how it was, but you had every wall in your room. You had drew on
all my walls, yeah.
Yeah, and you were one of the baddest artists I had known since I was a kid, right?
Not as good as I used to be.
Yeah, but you were doing a lot of comic book stuff.
Yeah, I love comic books.
Are you still into comics? You're probably like me.
No, I am, but Marvel sucks.
Yeah.
And I never got into DC, and I know that all the writers and all the good artists went to DC, but I always felt like DC characters were like too old and unexplained.
Yeah.
Well, and all the like legendary Marvel characters, they suck now.
Yeah.
So my favorite, I got kind of back into comic books because I got an iPad. And the iPad, I could download comic books. And I was like, what? This is so fucking cool.
That's how I got back into it, dude. Same way. I went getting torrents.
Yeah. So I got into my favorite comic book of all time was X-Force, and
That's just what I was gonna say. You're a big X-Force fan.
I was a huge Deadpool. When I heard that Deadpool's come out, I was like, this is so awesome.
Yeah.
And
you were the first guy I ever remember being into Deadpool, man.
Yeah.
I never knew anybody else. But you were on it since the beginning, and I always talk about that to my buddies. I always
thought it was a clever idea. Like he talks in the third person, and I never thought Liefeld actually did him good. Like Fabian Nice wrote him better, and then I think it was Joe Kelly later.
Joe Kelly, yeah.
Joe Kelly
and
really
Ed McGuinness too.
And Ed McGuinness, yes. Those two to me made Deadpool.
I 100% agree.
And they are not even like
Liefeld has nothing to do with Deadpool.
Not really.
He gets credit for it because they probably don't want to just fight over it,
He created it for sure.
Part of it.
But what it really is, the character really is, are those guys.
Yes.
And I feel like they did a way better deal. And then later on, I got into Uncanny X-Force, and to this day, Rick Remender. I think that's the best written comic book
100%
ever. And they
for Marvel at least.
Well, I don't read a lot of other stuff. I used to read Image too, but I think like
that Deadpool in there, that Phantom X in there. But
Phantom
my favorite
X was such a good character.
Archangel, the Archangel Psylocke. Did you read when it went from Uncanny X-Force to? I think they had like 2 volumes of that.
Yeah, 2 different volumes. I got both of them.
Okay, so you read the one where Archangel started going nuts.
Crazy, yeah.
And Psylocke.
They had to kill him.
Yeah. That is one of the fucking
So
greatest
good,
storylines in any comic I've ever written. It was dark. For people that don't know what we're talking about, at one point, the X-Men created a team that was like a underground assassin team that they couldn't let anybody know about because they didn't want people to know that these mutants were going out and taking out people, whether they're bad people or not. So it was the main people in the groups were Wolverine, Deadpool, this character named Phantom X,
which I thought was
one of my favorite all-time characters. But I got to tell you about him right now.
They
screwed him up. Archangel, Psylocke. And then they had some coming in out here, like Warpath.
Vanisher for a little bit.
Yeah.
Warpath is actually pretty good too.
Yeah. Warpath is badass. But so anyways, that run it was really controversial at first, but it turned out to be one of the best runs. And they got a guy on there that had come from a different area of comics, which was Image. And Rick Remender has done some amazing stuff. But what have you read anything after that since?
I tried, and then I was like, "This is trash."
Yeah, it's hard, bro. I'm the same way, dude.
I think Marvel put all their money.
There's too much stuff out there.
They put all their money into the movies, which is going to make them more money. And then I think all the writers and all the artists, Jim Lee took over DC, right?
Yep.
So he was like, "Come over to DC, man.
Yeah.
I'm a comic book guy."
Yes.
Where I think all executive guys took over Marvel.
Yeah.
They're like, "Hey, I'm an executive guy." And if you're an artistic person, who would you rather be under?
Yeah.
One of the greatest artists of all time, Jim Lee, and story writer?
Yeah.
Or would you like to be some fucking guy that's going to water down all your stories?
The two main guys who are
Disney.
running...
I mean, it's Disney,
Yeah.
Disney now.
Well, the two main guys who are running comics right now for DC are two of the best creators to ever be in the game, and that's Jim Lee and a writer named Jeff Johns, who wrote my all-time favorite storyline that I want to talk to you about, because you haven't read anything in a while, and I'll hook you up with it.
Nice.
And you didn't read DC, so you might not know a lot about it, but he wrote a storyline on Green Lantern that he he was at a bad point in his life. His sister had died in a plane crash on like that.
The actual writer.
Yeah. Jeff Johns' sister died in that Lockerbie. I think it was the Lockerbie, Scotland plane crash or something.
Wow.
Oh no, the one that was off the East Coast that they thought got hit by the missile. What was that flight? TW-800 or something like that.
Yeah.
So he was at a bad place, and he just wrote this whole storyline kind of based on what he was going through with it. And it is one of the best fucking coolest storylines in comics. It turned Green Lantern to my top 5 favorite characters.
Can you get DC stuff? I tried to get their app, and I was like, I found it clunky.
I'll give it to you. I'll actually give you. I have the copies. You can just the real copies.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'll borrow it for sure.
Yeah. So, but anyways, that is kind of like what I tell people that haven't been around for a while. Jump in on this if you can, because it is.
Is it an older story though?
Yeah, it started in 2010, I want to say, maybe.
Still 9 years ago.
Yeah, dude. Maybe even longer. No, I was at ST when it started. How long? When were we last at ST?
What's ST?
I left there.
That was close. We used to work with.
Yeah, they forgot the D.
Yeah.
No one forgets the D.
Yeah.
Someone always used to spray paint the D on the building.
Yeah. So,
I love
full
comic
circle
books.
about the artist and
So
shit.
in my office, people give me 2 things. It's kind of cool. They give me octopus stuff because my logo's like an octopus.
Fucking A.
And Deadpool stuff.
Yeah.
So I also like owning my own business because I can do whatever I want in my office. So my room, I have a giant cable poster.
Yep.
And I have all these figurines of Deadpool, and someone even gave me the first 2 issues of Deadpool, and I have those on my wall too. Yep. And I just love the fact that I can do it's my.
Be your own boss, man. Make money for yourself.
Do whatever do whatever I want, and don't take advantage of anyone. Don't hurt anybody. Try to make people better. And I love trying to help people be the best that they can be, and figure that out for themselves too. But help them find their path. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I think that jiu-jitsu did that for me for sure. And then we were talking about comic books and drawing, and my parents were cool enough, they would let me just draw on all my walls. And I thought for sure I was gonna grow up and be an artist, but I chickened out on it.
I think you were meant to be where you're at, man.
For sure.
For sure, yeah. For sure.
Did you draw that?
No. I designed it though.
That's cool.
I did design it.
I love that, man.
I'm getting good at all the Adobe stuff now. So I've been working hard at learning and understanding all the Adobe programs.
Yeah, we're just getting into it.
It's a whole nother.
Oh yeah, I just got the cloud, so I'm in.
Yeah, I have the cloud, and I've been playing with Spark lately, and then with the video stuff. So I have my whole curriculum's online. So anyone that joins my school, they know my curriculum. So I say, okay, this is the month of May. Everyone knows what we're gonna do. And then every week you can go and then watch all the videos of what I'm going to teach during the week. So I went into Adobe Premiere Pro, and I'm like, okay, I don't know how to do this. I learned how to do it, and but I'm still learning how to audio and lighting and all this stuff. It's like a whole new medium. Yeah. But to me, like this is what's cool. Like I enjoy doing that stuff. It's learning new stuff, and even if it's frustrating.
You're putting equity into your own business at that point too, so it's worth more to you to do it. Sweat equity.
For so many years, all my money went into my gym. Yep. Like everything, I upgraded everything. All my money, any extra money I did, I went more to my gym than my own personal finances. You know.
Do you ever think that another gym somewhere else is on the horizon?
Maybe, I don't know. I'm so controlling, I think.
Yeah. No, it's your baby at that point.
Like it's like.
I was gonna ask you that.
Nobody loves it like you love it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No one's gonna love it like you love it. So no one's gonna take care of it like it's your. Very few people will take care of it like it's theirs.
Yeah.
And, one thing that I remember learning when I was told you that my instructor took me to Vegas and we took these classes. One guy said that nobody gives a shit how your day was. That's what an instructor says. You have to teach a class, and every class has to be your best class. No one gives, like, the guy's, like, super blunt, and that's how he put it. No one gives a shit. That's what his exact words. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares that your girlfriend left you, your car broke down. Nobody cares. They're here to do jiu-jitsu.
Yep.
They're here to do whatever. Like, nobody cares about your life. Like, they might care personally, some people.
But at this point right now.
They're here to take a class, so you have to do your best. Like, every class should be your best.
Be professional.
Yes, and that's hard to do, man. And I could do it, but relying on other people to do it is hard, you know? Because they're human beings, man, and I don't blame them for not making every class when you have a bad day, you know? Think of how many times you did your regular job and you just had a bad day and you're like, I'm just not working full. I'm not giving everything I have today.
Can you talk about where your gym's located and how people can sign up and all that?
Yeah, it's at 32nd Street in Union Hills, North Phoenix. It's right kitty corner from PVCC, Paradise Valley Community College.
What made you decide to go out there?
I lived there, and there was no gyms at the time. I'm surrounded by gyms. I have 5 gyms around me now.
Oh, wow.
I'm still the biggest, but I have 5 gyms around me.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
You know, it's just your point of view, I think.
Yeah.
I think I used to be like fearful of it, but now I realize that
more people are being exposed to it. That
more
there's
people are being
enough
exposed
people
to it,
out
but
there.
then if you're the best, then people will go to you.
Yeah.
And I don't like to take students from other people. That's like a big thing of mine.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things in the community where like guys will jump ship. It's like grass is always greener, you know? And then they get there and they realize it's not that much greener. It's actually not that cool at all.
Yeah.
So I don't like to take those guys from other people, but like you can have those guys.
Well, how do people sign up? Can they walk in? I know the website they can.
Anyone can sign up. Anyhow, I always recommend a trial class first.
So you offer, I saw on your website, a free trial. So how does that work?
See if you like it.
Is it like a half hour class?
It's an hour class. It's a regular class. It's no different than any other class. Mm-hmm. So you know what you're going to get into. Mm-hmm. Like you try the class, see if it's something that you can do. Like, yeah, I can get on board with this. I can do this. And then you can do that online, or you can walk in and do it. I try to make it as easy as possible.
Yeah.
So there's a waiver, and that's about it. We provide everything. I'll provide you with the uniform, and then if you want to join, you would buy your own uniform, and go from there, man. That's how we do it. I want the process to be as simple as possible and less scary as possible, because not everybody it was kind of scary, and I kind of like scary stuff, so it almost made me want to do jiu-jitsu when I started. Like they were addicted to me. It was super hard. I was like, I want to do this. I like hard things. I like difficult things. That's not everybody. So I try to make the concept, the process as easy as possible, so that anyone could just walk in and try it out and see if it's right for you and if you're going to get the benefits out of it. Mm. That's the biggest thing. Like, what is it going to do for you?
Yeah.
What's the website?
strongheartacademy.com.
It's an awesome website. I would definitely check it out. It's very one of the most professional websites I've seen, man. I love the fact section, the videos.
My friend doesn't do websites. He just read a couple books.
That's so the awesome. Best type of shit, man.
Joe Westbrook is the man. He's the man. He helped me out a lot. It even works on your phone. Like he figured out how to make it shrink to the phone.
Yeah.
So when you pull it up, because most people access everything on the phone now, or tablet.
You have to have a phone version and then a laptop version.
But it works on the phone, so it's good, man. It's good.
Well, so what do you see in the future coming up for Strong Heart? Like, what kind of tournaments and things like that do you guys get involved in?
Charity stuff.
Charity?
Honestly, that's my biggest thing, man.
Just give back.
Yeah, I just love it. I love doing it.
How often are you doing things locally?
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot. But I've been, so like the last 10 months, I went to this crazy thing where I didn't have a house. I lost my house. That could be a whole nother podcast. I lost my house for 10 months, and I was sleeping with my whole family at my in-laws or at my parents. My in-laws lived in Wickenburg. And now you know where my school is, so I drove an hour every day. And my kids were in Phoenix, so we drove my kids every day.
Oh, man.
So, and it worked out. So I was doing so much charity at the time that I told everyone, I was like, you know what? I got to fix my own stuff first, and I'll be back. But I got to fix my own stuff first.
You're like, I need charity, motherfucker.
Yeah. I literally came. So I was telling you before the podcast, I was at St. Vincent de Paul, and I was helping people at St. Vincent de Paul. And we were doing this sack lunches for their lunch. They would go in the morning, eat food, sack lunch, and then whatever. And I came to this conclusion. I was like, I don't have a house either. What am I doing? Why am I
You're like
not
giving out the food, but then you get in line.
Yeah.
You get in line the same thing.
I wasn't on the street. I was.
No, I know.
But again, if I didn't have a family, if I didn't have like in-laws or a family, I could be on the street easily.
A support system.
And I was making good money. It had nothing to do with good money, but like rent went up so much. I was renting a house for 5 years, and it was 2 minutes from my school, so I was just like comfortable. Instead of buying a house, I just like, this is so easy. I drive 2 minutes, no traffic, no nothing. Yep. It was nice. And then the dude's like, hey buddy, we have 30 days to get out.
Wow.
And I was like, what?
Oh,
so then I started looking at rent. I was like, what? Rent is like, I was paying crazy. I was $600 more than what I was paying everywhere I went.
Wow.
And everything we looked into was just garbage. I was like, I'm not paying that much for garbage. So it took me forever to pay off all my debts. And now I have this like amazing house.
I was about to say
everything worked out.
Yeah, I see a lot of you're making a lot of posts about getting that house going and the backyard and everything.
It was another like miracle stuff. So like I do a lot of Jesus stuff or whatever. But
whatever it is, man.
Bro, like again, where I was at, where I am now, like I don't know.
Well, that's what I really like and respect about you, man. Is that
I don't
your
put it on
commitment,
anybody,
your grind. I know even when you started off, you were still doing the landscaping.
Oh, yeah. For 3.5 years.
Yeah, so
I worked from 5 a.m.
I respect
to
that
9:30 at night.
Dude, that's insane.
Every day.
I respect that like a
3
motherfucker,
years.
man. And your commitment is paid off. I mean, look where it's out now, man. Like the key word in my life is consistency, and
Consistency,
you're a
bro.
very great example of. If you stay consistent, things will fucking flourish for you.
I really believe that, like, again, it's back to finding what you love and then doing it. I think that's that. I don't know who said that. Find out what you love and do it till it kills you. Like,
that's a great saying. Whoever said it.
If you get that commitment to do it to the point that you're willing to die doing it, it'll work out.
Yeah.
And what you're doing, you can actually really die.
Technically,
that's the crazy thing, right?
You pick the one thing
really
that
die.
like you can probably die.
Yeah.
But like, I'm trying to figure out. So I had this idea for like a blood drive, and I want to do a blood drive, and then I do a free seminar. And I'm going to ask maybe another black belt. I have a couple of people I want to ask, maybe from another gym too, to include other gyms too, not just make it my own. And then so you donate blood, and then you can do the seminar for free, because seminars are about $60 sometimes. So people are willing to donate blood, they can do it. But then I was like, oh, you can't donate blood the same day.
No.
You're like,
yeah.
A
lot of people can't donate blood and they don't know it yet too. Yeah.
But so I'm still figuring out. That's kind of my next thing I'm trying to work out. I've been trying to do a foster care jiu-jitsu for like 2 years, and I had 2 opportunities that just failed, man.
What do you mean? What does that mean? A foster? Like,
I don't know what that means. This is just what I'm trying to do. That's why I probably failed, because I didn't have it. I come up with ideas. They don't always work out. I had some foster. So there's 18,000 foster kids in Arizona, which is mind blowing. And the problem with foster kids is they don't get to do these things that I'm telling you about, like hobbies, because they don't know how long they're like a foster care,
jumping from family to family.
So they're not going to invest money and put you in football or guitar lessons or whatever, art lessons or whatever it is. So they don't get to do the cool shit that when we were kids got to do, And so I was like, I wanted to have a jiu-jitsu class for foster kids. If you're fostering kids, you can come to my gym. You can do classes.
I think that's fucking genius.
But it just never.
If anybody out there that's listening that knows how to kind of what ideas to help Mike do that, contact him, contact us.
Strongheartacademy.com.
Someone smarter than me contact me.
And anytime you have any of these things planned and getting ready to go, let us know, and we'll shout it out, because I think that's the kind of point is
Thinking about
showcasing.
getting a van. I'm trying to get a van to pick up kids, because that was one of the issues at these boys' homes.
That might be a little creepy.
Transportation.
No, for sure.
I was thinking that. I wasn't going to say anything.
For sure.
I had a great joke.
As long as you aren't selling candy
I
and
won't
stuff.
offer them any candy.
That's a wrap on.
It'll have windows. It won't be panel. It'll have windows. But like they don't have rides.
The transportation's an issue.
The city will pay for transportation, but it's a big hassle we're running into when I was trying to do it before.
Be easier just to get your own transportation to pick them up.
I remember growing up at the Boys and Girls Club. At some point, the Boys and Girls Club had a van, and they would
pick up from their houses down the street.
They would literally go around town and grab kids and bring them back to the club, and then take them back home. Yeah.
You're talking about the one across from Bel Air, right?
Yeah. That's where I played ball.
We did a wiffle ball tournament. And I remember like Criddle, Balanzia, Glen Glass, we all went in that creeper van.
Yeah.
And we all went to a Boys and Girls Club at like Glendale and someplace that had a wiffle ball tournament.
Yeah.
I was in that van.
That's what they're going to call your van, but then they're going to tell you about the creeper van.
Yeah. We grew up. Hey, man, you grew up in the same area.
I did. Actually, it's kind of weird because I didn't grow. Like all you guys are from Bel Air, but I'm not.
I'm not, but
no,
they are.
Oh yeah, you're from.
I'm like on the outskirts.
No, other side of Deer Valley, right?
He's 59th Avenue.
He's on the wannabe Bel Air.
I'm Greenbrier.
Greenbrier,
yeah. That's what got split from Bel Air. Is
my house was on the 17th green.
Greenbrier was.
You know, I drive by our old neighborhoods all the time just to see what they look like.
You know what Greenbrier was?
Sometimes I go, most of the time I do that, but sometimes I go, man, I wouldn't mind moving back here. I mean, some of the blocks are nice. Some of the houses are really kept up nice. And when I drive by my old house, it's kept up really nice. And I go, dude, I would buy that house in a heartbeat.
You live close to Beanfield, right?
Yeah, I lived on 51st and Grovers.
I'm so sad I don't talk to that dude anymore either.
I just got to hang out with him. That's what I'm saying. We'll get everything going,
46th and Grovers.
Balanzia, I hung out with Balanzia like every day.
He was on 50.
You know who? Do you ever talk to Caleb anymore?
No, Caleb just.
Yeah, no, I talk to Caleb all the time.
He ghosted me.
Yeah.
He like straight ghosted me. I felt like a girl.
No, dude. He did it to everybody, but there's a good reason for it. So he's doing really good now.
I hung out with him every day.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So that's a good thing about this show, like we were talking about. We get to hang out with old friends, new friends, figure out everything, and try and make the community better and make this a little community. You know, you're going to be on multiple times. We're going to have
the 69th episode.
Yeah, 69th episode is the next one I want to do.
So the 69th?
You got to bust them out for it.
Yeah.
Before we wrap, I just wanted to make a point really quick. Do you know what Greenbrier really was? You remember Greenbrier Elementary School?
Yeah.
You don't remember Greenbrier?
No. I think my aunt used to teach there.
Was that on like...
It was on the other side of 59th Avenue.
Right by Habib's.
Right by Habib's, right down the street. Like you could see the...
that sounds really bad that we're saying that.
My aunt was a teacher there.
Yeah. It was literally built for all the kids that couldn't fit at Bel Air. It was literally portables, shitty-ass portables. Yep. And then after I went there, and then my sister went there, now it's like this awesome brick school.
Yeah. That's what happened to my elementary
school. But at one point, it was
Same
literally
thing.
for all the... Because I went to Bel Air, kindergarten, first grade, and they literally were like, you guys... We don't have room for you guys. So
Deer Valley.
Where'd you go, Park Meadows?
So I went to Mirage.
Mirage.
Oh, Mirage, yeah.
The portables, same thing.
Mirage is like that too, probably.
Portables,
yeah.
and they had they didn't have air conditioners.
Yeah, neither
swamp
coolers.
coolers.
It was so fucking...
They started to get black mold, so all the kids were getting sick.
Yeah.
And they're like, they would just move you to another school. They were just putting the ozone machines. They call ozone machines underneath it.
In the meantime, these Bel Air kids breathing clean air and shit. They had those basketball hoops that you can dunk on that were 8 feet.
Like they had like the spring and everything.
Yeah, we can't even breathe. Trying to learn math and
I
shit.
had asthma for sure.
Well, you could have been a Bel Air kid.
They fixed it all.
You just needed to move into Bel Air.
Yeah,
we couldn't afford it, asshole.
Hey,
I play golf.
I wasn't in Bel Air either.
You guys got your own song.
I was.
Will Smith wrote.
Dude, Bel Air has awesome bike trails. You know, like
what I used to love?
Yeah.
Dude, they were so cool to ride through.
We can
end. I remember trekking everywhere when I was a kid. We never were on video games at all, bro.
Yeah,
we can end it
on a bicycle.
Bikes. I mean, like miles away from my house.
I'm trying to get my boys right now to ride bikes everywhere. I'm like, dude, that was my first taste of freedom. First taste of freedom.
I don't think it's ever gonna happen, man. It's just a whole different generation.
Yeah. I have a electric skateboard. It's the only cool thing I have. Yeah. And I get on that, and then I make them ride the bicycles so that I don't have to work hard. And then I'll cruise around. And
what are those things called again? They're called something.
Segway things?
No, it's electric skateboard.
Oh, wow.
Mine's a longboard.
Yeah, it's a longboard.
It's electric. It's the coolest thing ever.
Oh, yeah.
It has like a little remote, and then you can go 20 miles an hour. I haven't died yet. I'm surprised.
I've seen them, yeah. I've seen them. They're cool.
Oh, yeah.
You can even go reverse, right?
You can go reverse.
Yeah.
Just
Jamie, can you pull one of those up real quick?
Jesus.
I'm just kidding. Anyway.
You need a Jamie.
No, he is our Jamie, but he doesn't know who Jamie is.
I'm not fucking Jamie.
What?
All right. But we got to wrap here real quick. But I just want to say I really appreciate you taking the time to come out, man. Fucking, you can come on anytime you want to send a message, and we do this every Sunday, and we'll squeeze you in however anything you want to promote or talk about or whatever. So
I just like to talk.
We could fucking
that's how it be.
Oh yeah. So yeah, man. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it big time. Man, is there anything else you want to plug real quick before we wrap?
World peace. I got nothing to. I don't.
strongheartacademy.com.
Strongheart sweet. You don't have to like. I don't know. I feel weird plugging shit.
No, dude.
No,
this is. I want you to, man. Yeah. I gotta add all the links and shit. You'll see.
We'll do it for you. Yeah, we'll do it for you.
Oh, me? What?
It's almost like Joe Rogan because we talk about jiu-jitsu. You just gotta talk about DMT.
I know, right?
And then
we got the
float tanks. I've done float tanks. That's fun too.
We gotta talk about that next episode for sure. Because that's on my to-do list for this year.
So I've done anything you could think of that would recover besides steroids of recovery. And that was one of the things I tried to do.
I would love for you to come back immediately to talk about that, man.
Yeah.
I got a lot of,
we'll get into it.
Actually, we'll talk about it right after we wrap.
Okay, cool.
So fuck you guys. We're wrapped.
Peace.
Late. All right, thanks, Mike.
Yep. Right out. Thank you. It's nice to finally meet the myth, the man.
All right, can you do a camera and a sound wrap?
So what, you didn't want to talk about your hemorrhoid problem on air?
No, I don't care.
Oh.
Do a sound and camera wrap.
I gotta get a fish for my son. That's the only goal I have for this day.
Where you gonna go to? Bang!